UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Ursula von der Leyen, the European Commission president, reached a deal after 9 months um, to finally have Brexit closed for negotiations, culminating in haggling on Christmas Eve over fishing rights, which heavily, when you read about this, is heavily about rights for areas. So it's like a territorial kind of environment that we're living in right now, giving a temporary deal to share data among countries as well. Little into promote services. Sorry about that. So late Wednesday evening, Parliament's upper chamber, the unelected House of Lords, also backed the deal. It will become British law within hours. And the UK left the EU almost a year ago. So everybody should know all of this information at this point. If they don't, then basically what we're talking about is kind of territorial rights in areas. If you want to go back up to me.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Sorry,
no.
brother.
There
Is
you
it
go.
good?
No, I got it. All right. No, that was my fault. It was actually delayed on my fault. So basically, little is to promote the services marketed in the UK, and it will leave the Britain market GDP 4% lower. Food products will need certificates that will create more bureaucracy, and Britain will also restrict more given subsidies to match some of the EU's rules. So I'm not sure what you know about this, but what do you feel about a lot of the marketplace in the world right now being substantially shifted to China's market, the US market, and now them wanting to shift the market in the UK away from the EU? The idea is to get them more sovereignty as a state, even though it's like 52 to 48 that voted for it, mind
Yeah,
you. So it's
yeah,
pretty split. It's not like this was like agreed upon in the state of the different sovereign states of England, because we have to remember Scotland is in there too,
yeah, yeah.
North Scotland. So
So at the end of the day, they just want to get more of the pie. At the end of the day, they want to like split apart so that they can, and at the end of the day, make more money and have more power amongst themselves. Is that what you're saying? I'm like,
yes, and some of the disagreement too is that actually farmers, for instance, you will take a loss first. So
Mhm.
Britain will take a loss from this first for a
Okay.
couple years. The fishing market had a lot to do with this because basically the areas that have more fish was also having the Dutch and other countries come in and fish in their area.
Mm.
So basically, it's a boon for the fishing market. But for instance, the farming market, they're going to have to send more goods back and forth, and they're going to have to go through more tariffs, more paperwork, and basically, it's interesting because this is watching, like, for me, it's the red versus the blue still,
Yeah, yeah,
and it's the
yeah,
Labor Party for them, and basically they're more conservative House, which has Boris Johnson, and they're being split 52 to 48 is pretty much like America right now.
yeah, yeah.
So I see it's the same thing. Like, I would love to be in Britain and be able to go to France at any point. Now
Yeah,
they're going to
yeah.
make it so that you can't just do that anymore, and it's been almost 50 years. It was 1973 that they joined the EU.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, because like we were talking earlier about like the whole race thing and everything else. Like it very much reminds me of like what's going on here. You know, like when we were talking about race and politics and how it kind of affects things. I don't like it. I honestly wish that there was more ways for people to be able to stay united and keep things and fix things before, instead of taking drastic steps to separate and kind of like say I'm going to build my own thing now, and I'm taking my toys home, or I'm doing this. I feel like in a way it's how can I explain this? I feel like it's going to negatively impact a lot of people indirectly. I don't.
It's
Well,
exclusionary.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
exclusionary. It's like
yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
trying. I mean, it makes sense to me that they're trying to create as much income after a collapse in their market. So it makes.
My son came running in with his ice cream like
I tried my best.
No, I try to stay serious too, but I seen him in my in the picture like while I'm watching. I'm like, this little kid looks crazy. But go ahead, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no,
Family, man.
honestly,
Like,
this is kind of a dry story. This is just more telling you about the 660 billion pounds in annual trade between the two sides, which is 100,000, hundreds of thousands of jobs. Honestly, this is like they Brexited at the worst time. I'm
yeah,
assuming that if coronavirus was there when they voted, then we would have a completely different vote
yeah,
because
probably.
we wouldn't want the Britain wouldn't want to be excluded from the EU at that point. Except maybe they would. And that's maybe we just have that many I don't want to call them crazy because I think that this is their country and they specifically know they somebody if somebody from England was to tell me leaving the EU was a terrible thing, then maybe I would give it more credence. But I haven't heard that. I've heard more that this is a short term gain for Britain, looking for a long term gain, but it honestly just might disconnect them from the people.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very important to keep the people of Europe connected, in my opinion. I hate
Yeah.
to tell people China is going to be a big entity really soon. Like they're going to bum rush the market and with real goods, with real manufactured goods. They already have in most ways. And they're going to just be a more stable country. And if you don't have a real European Union, yeah, Russia's going to come in too, because Russia has been waiting for that the whole time. And I am not even conspiratorial about them, except for the fact that they have had authoritarian administrations in there for almost 20 years. I didn't realize that Putin has been in there since 1999, and I believe the current. Let me get this exact date. The Chinese president has been in there for a while as well.
Mm. What's
Yeah,
crazy is they
Jinping.
said I was listening to a talk show about photography stuff since you know I do photography and all the other stuff, right? And they're talking about like right now a lot of people they're lowering their prices so they can get as much of the market as they can, but in 2021 prices are probably going to go up on equipment and they're going to use like really like petty reasons to oh well this thing has this certain technology or that technology and eventually a lot of like for flashes and certain things they're going to go to China for their manufacturing and they're going to rebrand it as if they're American stuff so they can get cheaper merchandise and there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm hearing is going to happen. I don't know if it's guaranteed or whatever, but to me a lot of it makes sense because they screwed things up so much here. If they would have given people money, we could have spent money, bought the things that we needed, and so on and so forth, and reinvested back into this country. But because they're not doing that, that cycle stopped, and now these businesses are going to have to like come up with solutions that are going to hurt us more. The prices of goods are going to go up, as well as we're going to get a lot of out of the country manufacturing like we've always had, but it's not going to be a lot as many things in house as it should be in theory. You know what I mean? And I don't know. China's definitely going to be doing this thing, and you can't really totally hate on China because they're doing what they had to do. Like I'm not proud of their government, but you know at the end of the day. They made the decisions that seem to be working. We're not, and they're doing better as well, right, than we are in the COVID, right?